Hello, my friends. I am in Chicago, and so naturally, we're gonna go visit a bunch of bookstores. I have 6 planned for today. All of them are indie bookstores, and they all have like some quirky flair that's all of their own. I'm excited because I've only actually visited one of them, so the rest of them are gonna be new to me. First up is going to be Afterwords. Let's go. All right, so normally I do my recaps while I'm like out and about still visiting bookstores, but it is so hot and humid here in Chicago, and I was out there fighting for my life, and so I was like bopping around trying to get out of the heat as quickly as possible. So I'm just gonna tell you about them now that I'm in the comfort of my hotel room. First up, we went to Afterwords, and I'd heard about their basement, and it lived up to the hype. The first floor is more so like kids' books and something else, like, to be honest, nothing I was super interested in. So I headed downstairs, and their fiction section wraps the entire wall, like on the outside of the perimeter. Super cool. And then on the inside of the perimeter, like on the little shelves and stuff, they have different sections. So like fantasy, horror. The outside is pretty much like all just general fiction. And then I do guess they have like a little bit of a travel section like towards a back corner, but fantastic selection. I ended up going with Carrie by Stephen King, one of the most famous books ever. I've never seen the movie, and this will only be my second Stephen King book. I read Misery last winter. I had been avoiding Stephen King for a long time because I was scared it was too scary for me, but I handled Misery great, and so I'm going to give Carrie a go. What pulled me into specifically Carrie is I heard that there's actually she has paranormal abilities, which I think is super cool. So I'm excited to read this one. And then I headed over to Skunk Cabbage. Look how cute that bag is. And that bookstore is really cool. On the inside, it gives major camping vibes, like outdoor vibes, like the greens on the walls are very neutral and you're outdoors basically. And then they have a lot of merch that's very either wildlife or little insects or camping. And so that's really cool. And then they had an amazing selection of pro being kind to everyone vibe. It was a very we welcome everyone kind of bookstore, and I really appreciate when bookstores make that be known. All of their merch was very welcoming. They had really big sections for LGBTQ, different ethnicities. It was cool. They definitely put in effort to make it a bookstore that I think everyone could feel really comfortable in, and that's awesome. What I ended up going with is Decomposition book by Sara Van Os. I have heard nothing but incredible things about this book. All of my book girly friends loved it, and so I had to pick it up. Also, one of my favorite authors ever has a quote right on the front. Rachel Harrison says, "As profoundly beautiful as it is totally unhinged." And so I'm really looking forward to finally getting to this. I've heard it's just creepy crawly, but I don't really know anything else about it. Okay, so Bucket of Blood was insane. Their niche is horror, and so they had the craziest like horror sections I've ever seen. They had a whole section for something called extreme horror, and I'm not that brave, that is for sure. Some of those books looked terrifying. But they also sold like records, cassette tapes, CDs. I'm pretty sure they also sold some DVDs, so just like physical media. But their book selection, if you're a horror lover, is insane. I was stoked. They like have so many subgenres of horror books in there. They also have some like fantasy and just general fiction, but it is like, I would say at least 80% all horror. Very cool. Also, it was like the decorations were like creepy, which my dad would love. I finally found Into the Drowning Deep by Mira Grant. I've been looking for this in physical bookstores for a hot minute now, and I haven't actually seen it anywhere but there, and so I definitely grabbed it. I don't know much about it. I just know that I think it's like horror mermaids. I've heard it's a really good summer horror book, so I'm definitely going to squeeze this into the TBR before the end of summer. And then Roscoe Books is the one bookstore that I have been to before. When I was here back in December, that was the only bookstore I visited, and so it's kind of like coming home. They had like a whole little section for summer slasher books, but anyway, I finally found Slasher Summer. This is another one that I've been looking for physically in bookstores for a minute. The bookseller was telling me that she was flipping through this earlier, and the main characters are all like odes to old like 80s, 90s horror films. So like the main characters she said were like Carrie, which was ironic because I just bought Carrie, and Freddie, and I think Jason or something like that. And so I think that that's hilarious. I'm excited to read this one. I might even throw it into my Summerween reading list. Roscoe Books definitely just feels very wholesome. Like they've got a pretty large kids section. It's got like a cute little tree mural on the wall. And then they kind of have just a little bit of everything. I would say it's like your quintessential local neighborhood indie bookstore. Okay, and then the last chapter, it is a romance-only bookstore. When I was here last time, I tried to go, but they were closed, and so I was really excited to actually get to visit this time. They're definitely like a growing bookstore. They don't have like an insane amount of books, but what they do have is great. They have a really incredible indie author selection. A lot of those books I'd actually never even seen, which I thought was really cool. And they had a lot of them that were like signed, and their merch was like some of the best I've ever seen. I will say that. They definitely put a lot of like investment in their merch, which I thought was cool. Everything from like obviously t-shirts and stuff, but they even have Kindle covers and laptop covers. It was really cute. I ended up going with The Someday Garden. I've never read anything by Ashley Poston, but I have heard incredible things. People love The 7-Year Slip. What is interesting to me about this author is she does magical realism, which I really love. Like, it's not full fantasy, it's just like a little bit of magic here and there. And so I think that that will be a really fun addition to my summer TBR. I'm excited about it, and it is also a signed copy. And then last but not least, 3 Avenues Bookshop. So I hate to say it, but this might have been my favorite. The selection that they had was really, really awesome. They packed a punch. Like, it's not a huge store by any means, but the way that they have it organized and how large their bookshelves are, they have so many books. And they are a family-run store, and they have a huge, like, it kind of shows in their selection and the store because they have a huge, not only young adult, but like middle grade readers and then like actual kids books. That whole, like, there's a whole section just for children, which I thought was cool. And then they had some really cute stickers. I did end up having to get one because how could I not? And then book-wise, you know, I had to get Wayward by Blake Crouch. I just finished Pines a few days ago and I'm hooked. Like, I have to know how the story goes. And so I'm super intrigued where book 2 is going to take us, the way that book 1 ended. So I'm hyped that I got this today. Also, the owners, because it's owned by a man and wife, they were so sweet, like super kind. He was telling me about this book that he's reading right now. And then she was just super sweet. She was like asking me about myself, and she was just very kind. It's just like really good vibes. And the storefront is pretty much all windows, and so it just had like a really nice atmosphere, like very like clean air and natural sunlight. They had a bunch of plants. It was a vibe. Alrighty, my friends, that is it. Those are the 6 bookstores that I had planned for today. I loved every one of them. I thought that they were super cool. I think that Chicago has some really awesome independent bookstores, and this was only the first 6. I am planning on doing a part 2 of this video. I'm coming back in the fall, and I have another 6 in mind lined up. The thing about Chicago is it's huge, and when I was looking into independent bookstores here, there are so many just like spread out, and there's no way I was gonna be able to hit all of them in a day. I still won't even be able to hit all of them in 2 trips. And so I tried to map it out today kind of like in a section so that they're all relatively close, which they are. So if you're interested in these bookstores, it's easy to hit at least a couple of them in one go. But definitely be on the lookout for part 2 of Chicago's best indie bookstores. I am really pleased with my haul. And I'm also very proud because I stuck to pretty much books that I'd had my eye on. The only impulsive purchase was The Someday Garden, but the other ones I've actually been looking for and planning on getting at some point, and so I am pretty proud of that. I really hope that you guys enjoyed watching. Like I said, I recommend all of those bookstores. If you guys have been to Chicago and you have an independent bookstore here that you think that I should add to my list for when I come back, definitely let me know down in the comments. And until then, I hope that this video at least gives you some ideas of some great bookstores to visit when you're here. Thank you so much for watching, and I will see you guys next week.